Okay, there we go. It means we're live.
Working on.
Ah,
Special edition.
Well, we just went
yeah.
live.
Call with that.
You went live when I was trying to get this game out.
Can help you on that. Help you on. I see. Oh, like slower than it can.
I spelled color wrong. Ooh. Yep. Spelled it the correct way, the British way.
COLOUR.
Yep.
Mm.
Terry got the number right.
Did I really get the number right?
Yep.
Sure. Are you just not telling me just that? Say something?
All right, I'm ready. Come on, let's roll.
Oh shit! All right.
Oh,
Hey,
wow.
I mean,
like
we're
that.
live, so why we just? I mean,
All
we're
right.
sitting here.
Roger and Terry were having banter. I was just letting it go until the
But it has
banter was
nothing to
done.
do with the live.
Wow. Wow.
This was a podcast we were recording. That's different.
All right, Terry and Roger, wrap that shit up. All right, games are spoken. All right. What's going on, everybody? Almost in full color. Podcast panel is here. For those who know us, you know it's the usual suspects. For those who don't, we have Gaines the Wise, Terry the Critical, and Roger the Knowledgeable here with us today. No? No, Gaines isn't with the Wise.
I don't know
You-
why this
you
keeps
didn't- okay.
happening.
I try to give Gaines a good title, and yet he doesn't want it. Fine. Okay. We'll see what happens next time. But E3 is pretty much wrapped up. We pretty much got the meat and potatoes out of it, if you will. We have a few little things that come next month. I think EA has a thing next month. I was supposed to look at when Sony State of Play is supposed to happen, but for the most part, E3 is effectively done. So we just wanted to talk about what we saw during this E3 and how we feel about it overall. But if you jump in already, so E3 is kind of like wild. Like I realized this year, I think Roger like pointed out a lot of things about it as well. Like there was Summer Games Week and then E3, and are they all the same thing or are they different? Is E3 currently being rebranded? I don't know, but currently with what you saw at E3, without going like hyper into it, did you think E3 was cool this year? Not cool, or eh? Or how did everyone feel about E3 and its delivery to you?
I mean, I thought it was pretty lackluster, to be honest. I mean, outside of Microsoft, that was literally honestly, it probably was the only one that was even worth watching. And I'm not saying that Microsoft had a great showing, but it's like compared to everybody else, it was like that was the best one, and that probably was easily voted as the best one, but didn't seem like they really had much.
I'll say I think it was different with the whole Summer Game Fest. I know they're trying to make it like I don't want to say festival, but I guess kind of the same experience as if you're there. It's like videos all week kind of going on of a bunch of stuff. I know E3 kind of had that previous years, but it still felt like contained to them like couple of days you were seeing that where they're trying to expand it out. And kind of like what Gain said, the announcements were different. Not sure if it was because of like the coronavirus like delaying stuff from last year, just kind of rolling over some or what, but it did feel like there wasn't too many crazy announcements this year.
Yeah. Before Terry goes, one thing I did thought was like super weird was limited run games had a spot in E3. And it's like
Right.
limited run doesn't actually make games, so to speak. Like they just kind of create physical copies of digital games. So I just thought that was odd to give them a slot in E3. Like, I mean, I guess there's a lot of people who just want to hear like digital games coming to physical disc or physical media, but I just thought that was weird.
And it's what was it, the Summer Games thing? That was more interesting than this, I would say. Like there wasn't really anything that was like, hey, we should definitely all get this. It was more like, all right, here's stuff. And it was just like, why do we care for most of it? Whatever they end up doing, hopefully it works next year, but this year sucked.
Yeah, it's pretty weird because today I was running out and then it said Bandai Namco had a showing. I was like, oh, let me go see what Bandai Namco's doing. And they put out one thing. It was like literally a 5 minute thing about uh House of Ashes. And that was it. And I was like, no, Grant, I'm gonna get House of Ashes this year, but it's like that's it. Like you slated out a whole Bandai Namco segment for 5 minutes. It just like was really weird. I was like, I don't know why you just didn't say House of Ashes is gonna have an in-depth showing going on at E3. Why I put Bandai Namco on it is really beyond me. So to get all the bad ones out of the way first, I guess we'll start with Square Enix because that was the one I was like, it hurts me to my soul to say that Square because you know how much I love you, but I really, really felt like that was probably the worst showing. Not as Gaines said, there weren't really too many great showings, but that was kind of one of the bad ones. And the Final Fantasy game, I'm not like I feel so bad because like I naturally should buy it, but I don't think I will. But the one that's made by Team Ninja, which also I'm like, why didn't you just let them make another Ninja Gaiden or something like that? You just had to make them make this damn Final Fantasy come to kill chaos weird thing with the dude look like he just rolled out of bed and he just had like a wife beater on or whatever. I was just not thrilled with Square Enix, but ultimately with Square Enix, was it just a Monster Hunter thing, Final Fantasy stuff? Should they even had a showing? Like, should some of these companies, basically with the Bandai Namco and now this, should they have just like just taken their names off the slate, or is it still cool to just see them, even if it's like you're here, nice to see you?
I don't see because I still don't really know how the whole relationship between we'll just still call it E3 and these publishers are. Like, do the publishers pay to be on the platform? Does E3 like pay them to come on the platform, or is it just a we're gonna have this platform. You guys should come down. It's free publicity, free advertisement. You know, it's gonna be hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of eyes on us this week to show off stuff you have, like an open platform to do what you want to do. So I'm not sure what the dynamic is, and I think with like Sony kind of stepping away from the E3 week and Nintendo's already kind of been on the outskirts, like they're like always the last one to go, and it doesn't seem like they're really a part of it, but they're kind of like kind of roped in. That it just feels like it's falling apart and feeling like maybe people just kind of got something together really quick or just threw something in there because of tradition. Like everyone's expecting these people to be at E3 and they're like, well, they kind of see the writing on the wall that maybe E3 is kind of going to go to the wayside and people are going to start doing more individual stuff. So they kind of just grabbed some projects they had and was like, here, just put that out there. I mean, Square Enix showed what 20 minutes of the Guardians of the
Guardians of the
Galaxy.
Galaxy, yeah.
So that's very weird. You normally don't see that much gameplay for any game from anyone. Like to use up almost half of your block for one game. It maybe that was just something they had. They couldn't think of nothing else, and they were like, "Look, this has a lot of stuff. Just throw that in to cover everything else. Like we still got 20 minutes to make up. Just play that and call it a day."
Yeah, I think everybody was either looking forward to Final Fantasy 7, like the second chapter or whatever, or they just wanted the Final Fantasy 16. Like if they weren't going to show those two games off, I feel like they shouldn't have showed it anyways. Like
Yeah,
the
why did
Marvel,
they show off Final Fantasy Integrate? Like
I don't
that's
know.
I thought
it
that
was
was at
so
the
weird
end where it
because
was like you could get this now, or I thought it was
but
some weird thing at the end of it where it was like, oh, by the way, if you wanted something to play, here it is, and
Yeah,
that's what
but
I
yeah,
mean. Like it
still,
felt
like
like they didn't have anything ready. It's
yeah.
weird to me to show off a game at E3 that's already out, unless it's new content. Even though I guess technically that's new content, but it came out before the showing. So like if you're showing an old game and you're gonna say DLC like hits today or DLC hits, next week or whenever, that's cool. But they just literally showed a game that they had already kind of had stuff out for. I don't know. To me,
mm,
that's not what E3 is. It's
yeah,
either comes out today or in the future.
Yeah, I think they should have just done the whole "Hey, it's out today" kind of thing, and I feel like everybody would have went crazy on that one. But for something that's been out for what, a week now, and they already did their marketing promotions for it, I feel like this was kind of one of those like, yeah, here's filler. Let's just add it in.
Yeah, I was about to say with the like things showing up, I do feel like it was just like not everything was like ready or publishers weren't because I feel like they probably have like some communications, a little bit of like, what do you plan on showing, how long, blah blah blah. Which I think, counting how lackluster it was for a lot of things, I don't know what other companies could have filled in a lot of the slots this year. So like, I mean, Guardians looked cool and all, but yeah, it did take up a lot of time. And yeah, I just feel like that was kind of all they had, so it probably couldn't rework a lot of companies in there.
Yeah, I wish they kind of just didn't show up. Maybe just gave some of that Guardians footage to somebody else's press run and let them kind of just show it off, or the case may be. But it should have took the time off. I kind of feel like just with the climate and the nature of things, with everything that happened last year, everyone would have understood if it's we don't really have anything for you this year, but you know, you I just don't think they should have showed up. Basically, you didn't have a Tomb Raider game. You didn't. Oh no, well, yeah, you did. They put out the DLC for Black Panther, so I mean, take that as you will. But uh, you know, they shouldn't have just showed up. Ultimately, it's just. I mean, it's nice to see you and all, but you should have just let it go and came back next year, which hopefully will be a better Summer Games Week E3. We'll see if it gets rebranded. But Ubi went, and Ubi was one of the shining stars, I guess, of E3. We had Just Dance, and we know how much Roger loves his Just
No.
Dance games. But I mean, Ubi seemingly was of its same kind of quirky style, whatever. How did everyone feel about the Ubi? Because I think that was like the first big one that went.
Yeah, I think Ubi was
Yeah,
first.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So how did Ubi do in everyone's eyes in terms of their E3 show?
they do the same thing
Yep.
they always do. Really, I mean, it's like, here's a couple games. Now here's our Just Dance game. Like, everybody should go do this. Bring out some sort of superstar that, or somebody that has a song on it. I don't know why I said superstar. I have no idea who that person was. They were like, hey,
Yeah, I don't know who it was either.
they're like, hey, my
I
song
mean, they
is
could
on
be
here.
big. I just don't know who they are.
They could be.
But
I
that
was just
doesn't mean
like,
they're not big, I guess.
like, I don't know if this is, again, to us, maybe not, but if this was who you should have brought in, of like, hey, my song is on here, so come buy it.
I mean, it didn't matter who they brought in for me for Just Dance. I'm not looking forward or going to play Just Dance. So
Well, somehow they brought out Prince, and then you'd have been all confused.
Well, we know
Yeah.
they
Roger.
would have brought out Prince.
Ubi
then.
would have won.
Yeah,
Ubi
that
would
would
have
have
won
been
the whole
impressive.
E3.
Yeah,
We know Roger always looks forward to Ubisoft and Just Dance. So I mean, but outside of that, they didn't really show much off. I don't think, at least from
No,
what
So
I
for
Rainbow
them,
remember.
they
Six.
didn't. Rainbow Six was cool.
Yeah, that seemed interesting, but it did seem like the current trend now, because I know we were talking about while they were showing it, like we were tired of like World War II zombie things and stuff, but now it seems like aliens is the big deal. Because what Rainbow Six Extraction reminded me of was pretty much Outriders. It was a three-player co-op. You went through basically three stages in a world, which seems to be the trend now, is this like three-player co-op. But I liked Rainbow Six Siege, so it was kinda cool that you're playing as the same characters with new stuff, but that was probably the best to me from Ubisoft.
So we didn't get Beyond Good and Evil 2. I thought we would
Yeah.
get something on it, but not a whole lot at all. Is this another case of they showed the game way too early, or
you said not a whole lot. Did they even show it?
no? No, I just said that
Okay.
just in case, that as a safety net, in case there was some format of news that came out about it. But I
I
didn't
was
see
I didn't
anything
see
in
anything
particular,
about it.
so uh, I'll just give myself some bail. But is this a case of a showing the game too early once again, or
I
do you all give them some format of slack given the events of last year?
I about to say, I always hate when they show stuff early anyways. I guess try not to skip too far ahead, but like the Zelda thing seems like it's kind of doing the same path. Like we're getting little by little each year. Where like I kind of just like seeing a mix of like the trailer and gameplay and the games coming out this year or next year. Like
Mm.
I never liked the I don't even know how long Beyond Good and Evil 2's been shown. Like I
A
can't
long time.
yeah,
We're probably
like
going on. I might be exaggerating, but we might be going on almost 10 years. It's been quite a while. Like they've been
No, it
showing
was
this
shown
game.
like no, I think
I
that was
mean,
shown like
from
4 years ago. I want to say it's 3 or 4 years. The Beyond Good and
I'm
Evil
about
2.
to look it up.
yeah, I'm about to say
I'm
I don't
pretty certain it wasn't that long ago it was shown.
I feel like you could keep that
I
stuff
feel
to
like it
like
was
the big
shown before the Final Fantasy VII remake first tease. I feel like it was, but I will look it up.
I
Young
feel like
Good
that's
and
something you could do
Evil.
social media wise
Oh
and just
shit.
show your fans.
To first announcement.
I saw 2017.
I don't know.
That's very
I see
it's very weird
2017.
because the first YouTube video I see says Beyond Good and Evil 2, 2008 announcement trailer. It says, Beyond Good and Evil 2 was first announced all the way back in 2008.
Oh, time to
Yeah,
I
scratch
think it
that
got
project.
canned.
that's
I
on
want to
the
say it
Tech
got
Radar too.
yeah, I want to say it got like it got canned and then they brought it back or whatever, and that was a big reveal for the 2017 E3.
So then they didn't really. That's not like a first reveal though. That's what I mean. Like I know I've been hearing about this game for a long ass time. So
Mhm.
I mean, to me, if I can see why, I guess, like Roger said, I don't want you to show a game that's so far out that I'm going to have to wait years before I play it. But if you are going to go that route, I am going to expect to see it every year. Every year at E3 or at you're showing whatever you do if you don't come to E3, I'm going to expect to see that game again. If you show it's like Breath of the Wild 2, if it doesn't come out next year by E3 time, I'm going to expect to see it again. And when I see it again, I'm going to expect it to be further along than it was last time I seen it. Like to show a progression that we are getting closer to actually releasing this game. So if you skip a year and don't show it, I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? Are you like having trouble with the game? Is it not even close to coming out now because maybe you backtracked or maybe, you know, whatever the case may be? Like you said, they came Beyond Good and Evil 2 for a while and then kind of revamped the project. Like obviously I don't ever see Breath of the Wild 2 getting canned, but so if you're gonna
Yeah,
show it
nah.
early, I just know I want to see it every year, and it should be getting somewhat closer to completion every year.
Do you believe there's too like you could give away too much? I guess, and seeing it
I
every
mean,
year
yeah,
would it like spoil the experience for you at all for you personally?
it, I mean, it depends what they show. Like, you can show stuff without actually giving away like story parts of the game. Like, obviously, Beyond Good and Evil is gonna be like a big story type game and stuff like that. But it's like you can still show that okay, like say this year was a trailer. Second year could be a trailer plus a little bit of gameplay, and you can put a game like you can show gameplay from anywhere in the game as long as it's not the very beginning, because you would, I guess, quote unquote, ruin that for people. But if you just show like a snippet of somewhere random in the middle of the game, there's going to be just a random side quest or a random, that has nothing to do with nothing. You could just show that to show like the game actually playing on the console or on PC or, wherever you're playing that snippet on, just to show like this is what it looks like actually playing on the hardware. Like this is where we're at, and hopefully it looks good. And you know yeah, that's just me. I don't feel like you can ruin it, but even though you can, I guess just depends what you show.
Devolver Digital, Terry Roger, how went your yearly quest into Devolver Digital's wildness?
Right. Oh yeah.
It was weird as always. I like the treks to Yumai. I guess that's how it was. It was like a samurai game, but it was all 2.5D black and white was the best game, and that's the game they started with. Obviously their whole presentation was just very odd and weird, like always. Um, they actually sold out. They had a tape of the whole recording on VHS that sold for $1,000, like before the presentation even ended. It was already sold. So that was crazy.
You buy the suit?
No, the suit, no. I think that's what was it, $500 or $600?
I thought it was like 8, but it
Oh, it was a lot. That's all I remember. It was ridiculous. So that was kind of interesting. They had this whole thing because they were making fun of basically subscriptions this whole year with the Max Pass Plus or something like that. I can't remember the whole name. But yeah, it was just weird. But that game stood out. Not too much of the other ones. I kind of wish they talked about some of the games from last year because I've still been waiting for Card Shark, which is a game you have to cheat at cards in the Wild West. But they didn't even really talk about that. That's still not even out yet.
I only watch Devolver Digital for the craziness that happens on it. I don't think I ever watch it for whatever is released on it.
Yeah, me neither. Just to see what wild stuff they do.
I
It's
mean,
very entertaining. Of all the press conferences, they're probably the most entertaining of them all.
that is true. They do have some
They just show
interesting
game trailers, and it's like just all that one is.
Yeah, it's like
We
interesting
got.
antics.
Let's go. Let's jump to Nintendo. We'll save Microsoft for last since
Okay.
they redeemed the best. Nintendo went today. How did everyone feel about the Nintendo Direct today?
That was probably one of the better ones for me for the gaming releases, actually. I thought they had a pretty decent lineup. I kind of like that they're bringing back the old Mario Party, like Superstars thing. That's all the 64 games and all in it. So I thought that was cool. I like the Mario and Rabbids game. So that hit. Bringing back Wario. Was it WarioWare? Is that what they're
Yeah,
called?
WarioWare.
I don't know the last time that was even released, except like a handheld. So that was cool. So it seemed I
I
was
think WarioWare was on. What was it back on like Game Boy or something?
yeah, it
Was
was
it one of the
old for a
Game
while.
Boys?
I can't remember if it
Yeah,
went to the 3DS or anything.
I don't.
I
Um,
think. I don't know. Maybe maybe the original 3DS or whatever, or it might have stopped the Game Boy Advance SP. It was. I know I haven't seen it in a long time, like you said.
and then they had the Mario Golf, and then the Metroid. I'm not a big Metroid person, but they did take some reason I like them 2.5D games. I guess ever since like Shadow Complex, and the Metroid looked pretty cool. Like I enjoyed that there. So overall, I kind of liked it. I don't expect much from Nintendo, anyways. Maybe that's why I'm always like, oh, they put out a new Mario game. Like I just expect that or something. But I felt like they had a pretty solid one.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, kind of like what Roger said. I mean, Nintendo's Nintendo. I don't think I'm ever shocked what Nintendo puts out, but like you said, they're always solid. Like I know, you're probably going to end up seeing something about a Mario game. Most likely, you're going to see some type of Zelda game. They usually have their consistent titles that they pump out, or their consistent, I guess, licenses that they push, titles for or whatever. But I mean, Nintendo's Nintendo. I'll never get excited and I never get down. I just know like they're going to give me 20 and 10. Like they're not going to score 40. They're not going to get a triple double, but they're going to give me a solid 20 and 10 every night, every time. So that's Nintendo.
Yeah, I'd never expect much from them on E3 because one, they never show Pokemon on E3. I don't think they've ever announced anything Pokemon wise there. So most of the time, you just end up seeing like their side games, like you said, Zelda, and stuff like that. So.
Mario is side
Side
piece.
game.
Yeah.
Yes,
Zelda side
Side
game,
game.
too.
yes, I do
What?
call Zelda a side game for me at least.
Mm.
A side game. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Wow.
said it. That's just how I feel about it.
They
I
show their
played it.
side games like Mario and Zelda. Yeah. Jesus.
I'm sorry. All right, that's just how I feel about it. But I mean, when you see Nintendo, you're always gonna get the same games you're expecting to see anyway. So they showed what they wanted to show. I mean, what was it this year's Skyward Sword is what they're focused on. That and
Remake or HD remaster, whatever you want to call it.
yeah, that and Super Smash Bros. They announced their new character. So
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I do have I feel like Metroid is one of their kind of legacy games, if you will. I feel like it should have. I don't know. Like I'm cool with the 2D stuff, but I kind of would like a maybe a third person or something. I don't know what I'd want from Metroid, but something that would put it on that Zelda, Mario Odyssey, Star Fox. Did Star Fox get a game recently?
No.
They don't talk about
Star
that.
Not
Fox.
on the Switch. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Star Fox has had a third person game, but it was back out. It was back on the GameCube. That one was very hit or miss for people. You
I
either
remember.
liked it or you didn't. I liked it,
Yeah.
but it was the one where they were fighting dinosaurs and he had a staff and you had to rescue that princess or something. It was very outside of Star Fox, outside of the ship based fighting, but I enjoyed it. But I mean, I kind of understand what you're saying. Like, seems like Metroid is the game that they're scared to bring forward and scared to do something different with that platform or that license, other than what they seem to do, which is kind of like really pull from the old games and maybe tweak them a little bit, but keep that same formula. Like, I guess they know that's a winning formula. They don't want to upset the apple cart, I guess, but it would be nice to see them kind of try something different. Sound kind of like how they took Super Mario World to Super Mario 64. Like that
Mhm.
completely changed what we thought a Mario game could be. And I mean, they did it again kind of with Super Mario Odyssey as well. But it would be nice to see Metroid get the same attempt. I don't know if it will work well, but be a nice attempt.
And I guess I like Breath of the Wild too. It showed just enough to perk interest, but didn't really show a ton. So I thought it was a good middle ground of, oh, the game looks real nice, looks smooth. Zelda or Link is
See, you can show
going
a game
through
without
the
showing it too
castle.
much. Keith.
It was weird how he just kind of went Lemillion, for lack of better terms, through the castle, but
I didn't like
Lemillion
that
can like
trailer.
phase through stuff. For those who don't know, but yeah. Anyways, I didn't know what to make of that, but ultimately, I think Nintendo had a solid, as you say, 2010 performance. Nothing that blew me away, but stuff that made me say, "Oh, Hyrule Warriors, all right, nice to see that still going down."
Or why? I have no idea.
Because Dynasty Warriors will never die. All it does is change its form. That's all it does.
I guess you're right.
Until they go to other consoles taking their
Oh, it's like a virus. It spreads. It went from Dynasty Warriors to freaking Gundam Warriors or whatever it was called. Dynasty Warriors Gundam. Now we got Hyrule Warriors.
Dynasty
I know
Warriors.
there's other ones. There's other ones. I just can't think of them.
Oh,
But
there's
they're
a
out
lot.
there. They're lurking.
So that leaves us with Microsoft. Good old Microsoft. They showed 30 games. How'd you feel about the 30 games that were shown?
They had some good titles in there. Honestly, as everybody who watched Microsoft probably realized, like they pushed a bunch of games, but they definitely pushed Game Pass harder. Like it was like, this is a game, but remember, it's coming to Game Pass day one. This is another game, remember, Game Pass day one. Like they made sure you knew, 27 out of the 30 Game Pass day one, and the only ones that weren't were like Battlefield 5,
Far Cry 6.
Far Cry. They were like, third party titles that I guess they don't have agreements with them yet, even though Battlefield 5 is EA, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's probably going to make it to Battle Pass, make it to Game Pass because they already incorporated EA Play with it. So if you do pre-order Battlefield 5 through it, you'll get 10% off
Nope.
because you get that discount.
Battlefield
You should.
2042.
2042. I don't know why I keep calling it 5.
Like
my
5
fault.
is old.
Yeah. But if you do, because they have the whole EA Play thing incorporated in Game Pass, you'll get 10% off of the game if you pre-order it. Because the brand new games on EA Play you have to buy, but it usually takes like maybe a couple months or so, but then they become part of the like free.
Yeah, I say it depends on the title. I think sports games show up first early. It'll just depend, I guess, on the life cycle of Battlefield. When they stop, I guess, selling them enough, they'll put it on there.
Yeah. So I mean, even if you do want to buy it, you would still get 10% off, which is, I mean, you can't knock that for something you would already have. And I believe Battlefield 2042 was crossplay, right? Across consoles or no? Was that not one of the games they pushed crossplay for? Or was that Ubi? That was Ubi that pumped a lot of crossplay, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Ubi did. Yeah. I forgot that wasn't Ubi. But Yeah, no, I mean, I like Microsoft. And definitely noticed that they pumped a lot towards the Series X console, and obviously we've all talked about it, but they're already upgrading their cloud infrastructure to the Series X consoles or blades, whatever you want to call it, to run their X Cloud service. Makes me wonder if they're giving up on games for the Series S. And by that I mean not giving up on a console, but me and Rogers always talked about that the Series S is just a glorified fat client. Like that's all it is. It's a place you can store games and play games, but it seems like a lot of games coming out for the Series S are struggling to hit what was promised for the Series S, like performance wise. Like it was still said that you were supposed to game at about 1440p, 60 to 120 FPS, mostly 60. And a lot of games are not hitting 1440p. And if they do hit 60, I mean, you're talking like down in like the 700p category. Like, so it seems like people are having issues with getting that going or utilizing that hardware to where at least Microsoft thought it could be utilized. I think that they're planning to just have you play that console through the cloud. And that way you would be running off the Series X hardware using a Series S console and get better graphics and better actual frame rate performance than what the Series S hardware can accommodate. They didn't say that, but I feel like that is the plan down the road. Because why else would you do that?
Yeah, I was gonna say it seems like I mean that was the budget one, which they're not going to probably talk about at all, and just transition it that way. Like I just see it as like you could download maybe some of the old games from Game Pass and
Yep.
kind of play, and then yeah, if you want to play the newest one, you're using the cloud.
And then if you want to download it, you can, and you can play it offline. You just won't get the same experience because obviously you're playing on lesser hardware, but you can still play it if for some reason you don't have access to the cloud or, maybe you took your game somewhere and they don't have internet, you can still play it offline.
I say I still want the S though.
Yeah, the S is nice, nice and small. Tyrone
uh,
seen it the other day and he was like, "Damn, that thing is small."
mm,
He was like
the
impressed
trader.
how small it was, but he didn't like want to let me know. So he was like, "Well," he's like, "Oh, you got the S and the X?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "That's the oh wow, damn this joint, damn this thing is small and compact." I was like, "Yeah, it is." He's like, "Huh, huh." He like sat it back down. And he didn't say any more about it. I was like, he caught himself enjoying a Microsoft product, and he didn't want to let me know it.
Like, yes, I must buy me one, and then continue to crash it. Even.
I mean, the PlayStation 5 is huge, bro. Like, if I didn't have this open table to just sit it on, I'd be like, where would I put you, you behemoth?
Mine's
But
on the
I mean,
floor,
it's a great console, though. God
Uh,
damn, Roger, why would you put it on the floor?
yeah,
I
mine's a
got on
great
the stand,
paperweight.
vertical.
Well,
So,
Terry, I'll go first before we get back to you.
oh yeah,
Microsoft, they did well. Some of their usual well, two of them anyways, in Forza
yay.
and the other game. Uh, two.
And the other game,
You see Terry's face. uh, what was the other thing that they? Oh, Bethesda had a strong, pretty decent showing. I think it was all thought it was gonna be weird with them like integrating with them, kind of sort of through this press conference. But I think they did a good job at kind of meshing both conferences kind of together. Bethesda normally has their own, so I think they did a good job at kind of mixing the games in there in between. What they saw, Starfield was the big game they showed off, and that did not have a release date, right?
I don't,
Did not, but it's
I don't
game one
believe
Game
so.
Pass. Day one Game Pass. Remember that.
uh,
Remember
I
that,
think
Keith.
Starfield, was it Redfall? Was that a
it said
exclusive?
November. Starfield was November 11th, 2022.
Mm.
That's right. It had the date on there
Yep,
when she
yep.
launched.
11, 11,
Yeah.
22. Yeah, I remember that.
I think it was the Redfall or Red whatever game that was the other exclusive. I can't remember. But I mean, a couple exclusives and a lot more than a couple. I think it was like 5 or 6, but a few exclusives to it. So one thing they showed off that I think a lot of people were very happy about was Halo, and they showed off some other things. I don't know if the Battle Pass was on the stream or not. I don't think it was, but I know I looked at some screenshots of it, and people really enjoyed their look at the battle pass. Basically, you can buy it, and even if you don't complete it within the like time frame, you can always go back and still work towards it. Your battle passes always exist. You don't like lose out on the rewards that you would get from buying the battle pass. Um, I guess 343 said they feel like it's kind of predatory, which is kind of funny. Like they didn't say that directly, but it was kind of said without saying it, like, oh, it's predatory for me to take $10 from you for a battle pass, and if you don't like enjoy it within this time frame, then
You
we
lose it.
basically take whatever the rest is. A lot of Destiny fans are like looking at that. They're like, Bungie, are you gonna do that too? So, but with everything you saw with Halo, Terry, what do you think? Before Terry goes, I also enjoyed that they said that the multiplayer is going to be free to play. So I may have a
Yeah.
way to jump in
Apparently,
without buying an
apparently
Xbox.
you can play it without. Did they say you could play it without Xbox Live?
I would probably have to get it on my PC somehow. I don't know though. I'd have to look it up.
I know they said it was like completely free to play. Apparently,
Yeah,
outside of battle passes, I'm sure you probably have to pay for those. But
yeah, those you gotta pay for. Yeah,
yeah, or maybe they meant you don't have to have Game Pass to play it or something. But I know they were pushing that it's like free to play.
Well, that would be free online because I thought that's all Game Pass is your online subscription as well.
yeah. So,
Well, no, you can still buy Xbox. I think you can still buy like some form of Xbox Live Gold without having Game Pass. I believe.
I thought they ended
Maybe.
that.
yeah, you can get Xbox Live without Game Pass, but I think if you get Game Pass, you get both.
Okay, I
Yeah,
thought that
yeah.
was the whole point of Game
Yeah,
Pass.
so you can get Xbox Live if you're not interested in Game Pass and just play your online game online.
I
And
don't know. Maybe you can't. I know because of saying that. I remember they were saying like they would convert however many months of Xbox Live Gold you had left into like Game Pass months
yeah, that's
or
what they were trying to
whatever.
do to try
So
to get people over. When they
yeah,
were trying to just get
um,
people to get on the Game Pass train, they were going to do that. So it's like, hey, we'll give you both basically. Just convert it. And
mm,
it was like, why not?
yeah.
All
Is
right.
120 FPS good enough?
Oh,
Or do you need more,
I
Terry?
need more. Nah, that's if it can actually hold 120. That's the thing. But Halo, it actually looked better than what we saw. Was it last year? Is it 2
Yeah,
years
it
ago?
was
Or
last.
was it last year?
No,
I
it
think
was
it,
last year.
yeah, I think it
Yeah.
was last year they showed
Oh,
it
okay.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
So I mean, what
last
we
E3
saw,
time.
yeah. So what we saw this time was actually really better. But what we saw last time was campaign. This is just straight multiplayer, and it looks like they're both being sold separately. So I wonder if they have different teams working on each side, and then that's why multiplayer probably looks better than a campaign side. So guess we'll
I
have to
just
wait and
assumed
see.
they're taking does Call of Duty still do it? The multiplayer and
Yeah, I know they started doing it like maybe a couple titles ago, to where at least you could just download the multiplayer without having to download the campaign. I don't
yeah,
know
it
if you
sounds
could
like.
purchase it separately though. I think you still
And
had to
then
buy the
with
whole game.
Fortnite's the same way. I mean, there is the PvE version of that no one even plays, but it's probably because that's how they justify the battle pass too. It's like we'll just make it free to play and we'll just gain money that way if you really care about the campaign. Throw
Here it is.
however much it is. Yeah.
Yeah, probably $70.
I hope
60 to
not.
70.
I hope it's shorter, smaller
Well,
because of that.
I was gonna say probably $6 or $7, but then again, it's gonna be on Game Pass, so it's like, in a way, you're not gonna pay the $60 or $70. I don't know who would buy it to buy it. Like if you have an Xbox, I don't know why you wouldn't have Game Pass. Like you're literally being charged like a few bucks more a month for like that huge catalog of games. And it's gonna come day one free. Well, day one included. I ain't gonna say free since technically you're paying a subscription service. But why would you buy it $60 to $70 outright? Like that makes no sense.
It'll be interesting to see how it works out. I guess we're supposed to get it this year. Who knows? But I th- I thought it kind of did really well. The only thing that I thought Bethesda should have done better is actually show an Elder Scrolls game. It's been 10 years since we had Skyrim, and Skyrim has been reiterated 7 times since then.
Won't die.
Yeah,
there.
they mentioned it, but they didn't show anything for it. But they did mention Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, they should have showed something off at least, or done something like, hey, we're still in development, or this is how far along we are. It I don't know. I think they should have done something for that one. It's been too long, and I'm kind of tired of hearing about Elder Scrolls. I stopped buying it after I got it for, I forgot what console. So hopefully they say something outside of the Elder Scrolls Online. But Bethesda did okay, I guess. Outside of that,
Yeah, I wonder if that's like a cat and mouse game. Like they're just trying to run up their contract with Sony and or however that works out, and then it's like, okay, now we can give that game exclusively to Microsoft and not have to worry about the ins and outs of showing something off and
I feel
maybe
like
ruffling feathers. I don't know how all that would work in terms of contracts and all that type stuff.
I hope
As it seems like they're still under contract with Sony for a few more projects. Who knows how that Skyrim Elder Scrolls contract exactly is worded, but
probably will
it
put out
sounds very cat and mouse.
here's Elder Scrolls Skyrim for something. I guess mobile will be next. Haven't done that yet. I'm
We'll
guessing
see.
that would be the next one.
But for the campaign for Halo, they showed off a brief trailer. Off of that trailer look, I mean, did you feel like it looks similar to the last? Was it Halo 5?
I can't really say just because what we saw last year was them actually playing the game, and we all know how trailers go.
Oh, Craig.
Well, yeah, we all know how like trailers go. I mean, they're automatically generated to the best of their ability. So, I mean, I can't really make a judgment call for that one. Like, we just have to see gameplay like we did last year.
No. So you're not here for New Cortana or whatever it was called?
Evil Cortana? Isn't she like evil now or something?
Well, not this new one. I
New
guess.
Cortana is. Well, I feel like she had a name in the trailer, but I just
Yeah,
refer
I
to
don't
it as New
remember what they said
Cortana.
her name was.
Yes. We all want old Cortana back. She was evil. She was amazing. Whatever her
Well, sounds
player.
like you're going to do battle with her. So,
Yeah, I mean, we're going to go
wherever she is.
do something. She's like stuck in somewhere. Doing
So I guess the age-old question of this podcast continues.
Whoa, you're gonna skip Microsoft's best announcement?
Wait, what was that?
no the
mini
fridge.
Yeah.
Roger, if you don't get out of this damn mini fridge.
Hey,
So what should the mini
I
fridge
wanna
do?
fucking
'Cause I
punch
missed
somebody
that
over that
part.
mini fridge.
nothing. It's
Hold
just a
your
meme.
drinks.
It's just a
What
meme.
Oh,
else?
that's all.
Mhm.
I
It's
thought maybe
it's just it's the most trash mini fridge you've ever seen. It just
Yeah,
has
I'm
an
about to look it
Xbox
up.
X on it, and it looks like the Series X.
I'm about to look it up now.
Yeah,
It,
all
it
is
looks
is-
like the
lighting?
Series X. That's
Xbox.
you're
fridge.
paying for. Oh my gosh! I actually went and looked at mini fridges
Oh,
as
yeah,
well,
it
and
just
for
looks
like
a Series X.
a
Yeah.
buck
Doesn't look
20.
like
You
trash. What? Are you
What?
talking about, Keith?
look at the inside of that thing. It's
Oh.
horrible.
Green.
What are you
It
talking
could probably
about?
hold like 6 drinks in there.
The whole
It's a mini fridge.
purpose.
It's a mini fridge. What
Do
the
you know what
fuck
my
do you
mini
think
fridge
mini
holds?
means? That's
My
not a
mini
mini
fridge
fridge
holds
then.
something crazy.
That's
All
not a
right.
mini fridge.
My mini
then.
fridge has a freezer in it as well.
Something's wrong with
So,
your fridge.
Not a
like,
mini fridge.
I'll get the dimensions of this damn
Mm.
Series X mini fridge and see how
Hey,
what the
whole-
dimensions
Keith,
are.
It looks like it holds about 10. Because if you look at the
10
picture,
drinks. Oh my
I
god.
thought it was
8, and
6.
2. Nah, it's 10.
Oh.
Because if you look
Oh
behind
my
the
gosh.
pictures, each level is 4. The top level looks like 2 laid down, so about 10 drinks.
Yeah,
It's probably
so
all
never
like
mind. It says
$200.
It can store a 12-pack of sodas.
A 12-pack.
Well,
Gosh.
The
It's
whole
a mini
purpose.
fridge. Like, what
I,
the-
The
I
whole
don't think
purpose
Keith
of
knows
it.
what a mini fridge is. I think he has an
I
actual
have my mini
full-size
fridge.
refrigerator beside him in the basement. He's like, since it's not in the kitchen, technically it's like a mini fridge because it's outside of its element. It's like, no, Keith, it's a full fridge in your basement doing
Alright.
full fridge
No.
stuff.
The whole
Like-
point of it is just because everybody kept saying it looked like a fridge. when it
Yeah.
First was like,
Well,
oh,
So they're being
no.
smart.
Now KFC is gonna come out with their console and
I'll
all
get
hell's
one and
gonna
sit
break
right
loose.
beside my Series X and just confuse people. They'll never know which one is which.
You mean the KFC console looks like an air fryer?
Yeah,
That's
what
literally
I
what it
said.
looks like.
Yeah.
They're gonna
Hey.
pull that out and all the hells are gonna break
I mean,
loose.
you can
can
game and heat
cook-
up your chicken. What?
Yeah,
more
That's
can you ask
literally how
for?
it's marketed.
Yeah, from the heat of your frames. You know, start running at 144 a second. You know, shoot, there you go.
It's
Cook that
literally
chicken up.
marketed that way. Like,
Hey.
hey, here's chicken, and here's our console on top of that. Have fun.
See, Gaines, if they did something with the PlayStation and made a PlayStation mini fridge, Keith would have
He'd
been
be
all
there
over it.
for it. Yeah.
No, I would not.
I mean, as
All
big
right.
as the PlayStation is, it would be a regular fridge,
Actually,
like
you
a
know
deep
what?
freezer.
What,
Deep
ab-
freezer.
what about what is a panini press, a sandwich press? I think we
Oh,
can
it
go
would
with
make
that.
a good sandwich.
I
Yeah.
think we can do
Yeah.
that.
Mm.
There you go, Keith.
Mm.
We're gonna go ahead and send that out to Sony.
We'll
What
see.
is
They
what is
probably won't.
Keith's
They're
age-old
saying that.
question he was about to ask us?
Yes, age-old question. Now, Microsoft had at least 4 Microsoft exclusive games. It seems Starfield, Redfall or Red whatever, uh, Forza, and which Forza looked really great, by the way, for those who were wondering. Forza,
That was just Forza Horizon.
yeah, yeah,
Wait till real Forza comes. That would be crazy.
and then Halo. So with the 4 exclusives and the games that they show, that would be day one Game Pass. Do you think that's enough to start to sway people over to the Xbox, or do they need more?
I
In terms of
think
to sway the people. I know you all have already been swayed. You've been converted. You've been co-opted. You've
I
been
had both.
you've
I
been
was just
taken.
playing Ratchet and Clank before we did this. So
I've been looking for an Xbox for a while now.
I mean, I tell people like you're gonna have your exclusives on Sony. Sony definitely has more exclusives, but they're not all big games. Like Sony has a lot of exclusive, but they're not all console movers. So just because they have more really doesn't matter. Like I want like God of War, I want like Ratchet and Clank. You know, Final Fantasies are like timed exclusives. It seems now they're not just on Sony anymore. But there's going to be games that you're going to want a PlayStation for. Uh, and with Game Pass, I mean, you're just going to have something that's there for a lot of like games that's on both. And it's going to say, okay, well, do you want to buy it $70 on PlayStation or do you want to have Game Pass and you just get it day one, the same exact time? Like, imagine how much better it would have been to have Outriders on Game Pass other than paying for it and getting what we got. Like, it would have been a lot. You wouldn't even have felt as bad because you'd be like, well, I really didn't purchase this game. And for what Outriders gave us, it was a perfect game for Game Pass.
Reminds me of it.
Yeah, like
Really?
imagine that you buy
It's
Anthem,
not
but you
that
don't have to
bad.
buy it, and it's just
It's
on
Game
not
Game Pass.
that bad.
Like,
Outriders.
Anthem, yes, that has been a perfect analogy for it. Outriders
yeah,
is not
like
a terrible game.
Oh,
I mean, even like a game like Ratchet and Clank, those type of games perfect for Game Pass because once you buy them, you're going to play them. You're never going to play them again. Solo player games or single player games, like they are the best for stuff like Game Pass because you're going to play it once through, and that's going to be it. And if you think that's $70 worth, then great. But if you didn't have to pay $70, I'm sure you'd be a lot happier. Um, I mean, even like with certain multiplayer games, I feel like that's the allure of the Game Pass. And as Elder Scrolls 6, all these other titles start coming out, like people are going to come over. It's just kind of one of those things where I wish Sony would put something into place because right now, like I feel like they're just feeling like we have exclusives, we're winning now, we'll just continue to win. And that thinking is not going to let you win long term. Like I wish they would do some type of cloud infrastructure because things are moving that way. And with somebody like Microsoft coming into the picture doing it, like it's going to make it a lot bigger because like I said, the infrastructure is Xboxes. You're not asking people to develop any differently for your cloud infrastructure like they have to do for Stadia, or Luna or other things like that. Like once you build it for the for the Series X or the Series S, it just runs on the cloud because that's what it's built off of, which was genius on their part. But like Sony needs to come up with something. I would hope that they would try it without waiting forever and don't be like the automotive industry where Tesla came out and everybody was just like, Tesla's not going to be anything like this electric car. And then next thing you know, the Model S came out. You seen it, you're like, yeah, that's impressive, but it only goes 200 some miles, so whatever. And then next thing you know, 300 miles, 400 miles. Then now Tesla's the number one car in America, pretty much, and everyone's trying to race to catch up to Tesla. Like, oh, we need an electric car, but it can only go 200 miles. It's like, yeah, because you've seen it there, and you decided not to invest in it, not to develop it, not to R&D it, and now you're behind the 8 ball trying to catch up, trying to make all the contracts that Microsoft is out there making with these companies to bring it to their service. So I would hope they do something before I guess they get too far ahead in that aspect.
Yeah, I was about to say I like the PlayStation exclusives way better. I was a huge Xbox 360 fan, but some reason like Gears just doesn't hold me over as much. And I like Forza, but I don't feel like that's like a driving game to have. But their whole presentation wasn't. I felt like it wasn't even really games. It was the very subtle because they never really talked about was just Game Pass. Like they just had it marketed everywhere. They never talked about anything directly with it other than on Game Pass. And it's pretty much everything Games was saying. It's just like I'm looking at the picture now that 18 of the new games are available this year, and then they had 13 for next year or later for all the stuff they announced at E3. And they included old games uh when they had their press conference, like Akuza, like a Dragon. That sparked my interest, but it's just right now the Game Pass is like it's not even like an exclusive question now. It's like that's a big driver, especially just like price wise of hey, I could buy my kid S if I really want to, but the X, and then I just pay 15 a month and I don't have to buy any games.
Yep.
Like
And think about it, that's $180 a year. Games are $70 a pop right now. So literally for 2.5 games, you can have all those games that come
well,
out and all the games that's currently there.
I cut out the online price too because you're paying for that with the 15, so that would be 2 games pretty much.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, since it's all in one thing, I just say you pay $180 for the whole bundle to play online and for Game Pass, and it's literally a little over 2 games, which you're
Yeah.
going to buy more than 2 games a year, like easily. So,
Granted, Among Us is on Game Pass, which I mean that was a $5 game, so not too much of a
yeah,
sight.
I never
But
never was a fan of that game, but yeah.
But yeah, I think that's like what's winning me over a lot. It's I like Forza, so I could play that cheap. Halo, I know that's when all of us will be kind of poking around the Xbox or buying an Xbox around that time, or playing on our PCs. So, and then that would probably open up Game Pass there because I had Game Pass for the PC. I never owned the Series S or X, and that's how I played Flight Simulator for a while, and it was enjoyable even on PC.
I mean, they're doing what they need to. I mean, I think if they continue, they're like, hey, we might not have exclusives just yet, but we have other reasons for you to buy one. Right now, PlayStation really doesn't have many reasons to buy one per se. Like, it's more of like, hey, here's our Game Pass, and here's like over 100 games that we currently have, and then now here's our exclusives that are coming out eventually, like down the road. But at least while you wait for that, here you go. Whereas PlayStation is more of like kind of games coming out, but not yet. So here's a
I
paperweight.
would say Ratchet and Clank is a great game to get.
Yeah,
Horizon
that's
Zero
I
Dawn
really enjoyed that.
will be amazing.
yeah. And like I said,
I
those are
mean,
games
yeah,
down the line, down the line though. Whereas Game Pass is we don't have those games yet, but here you go, just play with what you want right now. It's just like here's your access to them. Here you go, and then of course once they come out, day one. Whereas like I said, my PlayStation is a paperweight right now.
Yeah, but I
Like,
think
that's
that's
it.
yeah,
what
I haven't played my PlayStation until Ratchet and Clank came out.
Yep.
Like,
Like, there's just no reason to. Any of the games that are coming out have ran better on PC than they have on PlayStation. So it's like I have no reason to buy anything on it yet. I just don't have a reason to at the moment. And most of the games coming out are crossplay too. So I don't know. I think Xbox is starting to push themselves into the right direction for somebody to pick it up. Unless you're Tyrone, then
yeah.
And
And honestly,
don't ever.
crossplay is going to hurt PlayStation. Like, if I'm PlayStation, I wouldn't want crossplay at all because if it's crossplay and I can play with everyone on PlayStation and on Xbox, and I can get it on Game Pass for free on Xbox, like, I'm going to get it on Xbox because then I can still play with everyone who has PlayStations that I know, like Keith or, Asbury or who else doesn't have an Xbox that only has PlayStation. I know you and Roger have PCs, so that's like you having an Xbox. So, I mean, it's still both Microsoft. So, I mean, that's what I said. I want PlayStation to come up with something, but I just hope they don't keep kicking the can down the road and thinking that it's not going to like become bigger than what it is now. Like, because it will. It's not Stadia or Luna. So Stadia is going to be tough to get cloud gaming going because you got to take people to a whole different ecosystem and take them away from what they know. Microsoft doesn't have that issue because they have all the PC players, they have all the Xbox players already there, and they're like, hey, look, guess what? xCloud's included. Like, just try it. All your stuff is there. All your saves are there. Your same profile is there. You can still play with all your friends on PC and on Xbox. Like, there's nothing different other than you get to play it on your phone or on your tablet or when you're just out and about on some old crappy laptop. Still play. Like
I'm about to say
that. Go
the
ahead.
only thing that helps Sony a little bit right now is that whole Discord stuff, because that's the only problem with
Yeah.
crossplay, it seems like. Because like Outriders, that was the thing that sucked, was like no chat or anything. But
Yeah.
now that's what may keep them around, just because of literally chatting. That's how you can chat with everyone. Because I mean, we hear B all the time. He hates Discord because he's on the PlayStation and his phone and stuff,
True.
and they're not going to probably give that to Xbox real quick. Obviously, PC people have it, so they can join. So that will probably keep them at least a little relevant. I mean, it's a very small thing, but I think it means a lot to talk crossplay
Yeah.
easier. But
Yeah. I mean, that definitely be more convenient. Even though now we all still talk on Discord. We get around it, by playing on different things and still talking to each other. But I mean, that is nice to give the PlayStation a nice convenience factor. But
it's not a game win at all. But it's just
no,
something
no. But
that
it's convenience, and PlayStation definitely comes in second when it comes to the user experience, I would say, where like the Xbox like user interface and how they like bring everything into that user interface, it's way better than PlayStation. And I noticed that quick. Like, you know how we always try to put games together on Destiny and get raids and stuff together? All that's built into the Xbox user interface. Like if you launch Destiny, it'll have it over on the side, like everyone who's creating games and what they're looking for. And you can literally jump right in. Like you don't have to go to some website. Like it's like they've made matchmaking inside of their like UI, even for games that don't have it, which is crazy. Um, and like I was telling Roger, like with you having the consoles, you don't have that fear that everyone says of cloud gaming of what happens when it goes away, what happens to your games. It's like, bro, I still have a console. Like that runs on the same thing. Like I can just play them there. So I don't know.
Can't
It's
fault PlayStation too much for that Bungie like it seemed Bungie more so like didn't have something there for people to communicate effectively through their game. Like
no,
DC,
I'm not faulting
you
them
could.
for it.
I
I'm
mean,
just saying
it's
that
a
the
plus
interface
for
is better.
Microsoft, but
I'm just saying the
I
interface is better. I'm not saying it's Sony's fault, but I'm saying Microsoft is making up for where they have a shortcoming at. Like you said, Bungie, it was their fault they didn't put matchmaking in there for raids and stuff. But it's like Xbox thought of that and was like, well, we'll just build out looking for game inside of the Xbox infrastructure or the Xbox OS to make up for those games or to schedule it out in advance, because you can even schedule them. You can say like next Tuesday at 7 p.m. I'm looking for 5 people to do this, and I can literally join it today and it'll send me a notification that day and be like, bing, hey, jump in, and it'll jump you in, launch the game and put you in there. Like Xbox has always been ahead of Sony when it comes to that type of stuff though. I mean, we remember the 360. We all used the 360 interface when we played PS3 because the PS3 didn't have party chat and everyone hated that. So uh, okay, now I feel like we got like way off topic.
well,
Mostly my fault,
I
but
would
hey, I'll
I
take the
wouldn't
blame for that.
put PlayStation too far behind. I think with PlayStation Plus, they're gonna put it. I think they've looked at Game Pass and they're gonna put out more quality games every month. I mean, they offer Final Fantasy VII. They offered that Man Eater game, which actually was kind of fun. I think they've been putting out more quality games, and then you have the PlayStation Plus collection if you have a 5. So you got like 10 that are damn well near 5-star games. All 10 of them are just like top-notch games. Now, granted, you got to claim the PlayStation Plus game. They're not there forever. At least I don't know if they ever change that or not.
You have to
I think
claim them or else you lose them.
yeah,
You don't
okay,
have to
so yeah,
download it, but you do have to
you just have
claim
to
it.
claim it.
If you don't claim it by that month, they're gone.
So
So
yeah, I mean, every month that you do have PlayStation Plus, you have the opportunity to claim at least 3 games right now. One of them is going to be a pretty good game. Like it's not. I think at the inception of the PS5 launching anyways, it just seemed like they kind of upped the quality of games they're offering with PlayStation Plus. Not that it was always bad, like they would have dry months here and there, But I think now they're like, all right, let's just give out like some really, really good stuff. So I'm hoping Godfall really hits. That's what I'm really waiting for.
Yeah,
If
that's
Godfall hits that, then I'm like, okay, good. That's how I'm gonna play Godfall. I know it's probably gonna happen. I'm just waiting for it to happen. But
yeah,
I
that's the only
think
thing
that's
about
gonna be
that
the
one. It's
way for
always
them.
older games. Like
I mean,
nothing's
Game
ever gonna
Pass
be
is though.
No, Game Pass has new games
Okay,
day
Game Pass
one.
has new games, but yeah,
That's what
yeah,
I
They're
mean.
free
Like
games
th-
because
it-
Xbox.
you still get free games every month, and you
mm,
get Game Pass. That's what I'm
I will
saying. Like
say
they're always ahead.
the PlayStation one seems a little better through the because I usually see the Xbox free ones, the ones you claim and can download for the certain month, not the Game Pass ones.
Hmm.
And it seems like Sony has stepped it up a lot because, like, looking through them, like the best game I saw in the past like 3 months was like Lego Batman for the Xbox, which it's showing there. I mean, yeah, like I'm trying not to say the Game Pass stuff because obviously that trumps it. So I think
Yeah, that's like where
Sony's
everything's
trying to,
going.
yeah. So like the Xbox free games isn't. I don't even hear them really market it like that. But Sony
I think
is
they just bring
taking.
them to Game Pass. It was like it'd be a weird thing to have them sitting beside each other and like having like a different Xbox free game and not just put it in Game Pass because they push Game Pass so hard. Whereas like that is PlayStation's thing for PlayStation Plus. It's like here's a free game here's 3 free games
I forgot
this
Xbox
month.
gave free the truck racing championship in April. See,
So
it fits me perfectly, but for most people, I will say
yeah,
Sony has upped it, but I don't know if that's enough for me to say I need to
no,
switch here because the
it's
free game might be good.
yeah, no, it's not. It's just something there to where if you kind of have one, I feel like you don't feel as bad looking at Game Pass. So, I mean, granted, I've always bought a lot of game. I don't feel bad. Like I don't feel like I'm when I look at Game Pass, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything in particular. Personally, but I play a lot of RPGs and I play a lot of different games that don't go to Xbox Game Pass at all. Like I'm not getting Tales on Game Pass. Well, yeah, I don't think Tales is going to Game Pass. Uh,
I
a
don't
lot a
remember.
lot of our
I have to look.
JRPGs aren't going over there. So like,
I mean, they have all the Final Fantasies, so
they have Final Fantasies, they don't got like Star Oceans, they don't have what's some
yeah,
East
I can't.
games. East games aren't over there. So I play a lot of JRPGs and
Yeah,
those East made it to
no,
Stadia. East made it to
yeah,
Stadia. And that's
yeah.
East 7 or 8 just made it to
It's
Stadia.
whatever one is right before
9 isn't. Yeah,
Nox
9 isn't
Mon or
on there.
whatever.
But
That one's
yeah,
coming.
so
Yeah, that
yeah, I
one
know that
comes
one's
out
coming. I seen the little thing
this
for it saying
month
that's
or
going to
next
Stadia.
month. One of them.
But
It says sometime soon.
yeah, for the
Is that
gaming
game out
archetype,
yet?
yeah, 9 came
Okay.
out January.
Okay.
Yeah. Is for the gaming archetype I play, there's nothing on Game Pass. I look at them like, oh god, I'm missing out so much. But also when I look at the PlayStation Plus games, I'm like, I mean, these are good quality games, and if you take the 10 games you get with PlayStation Plus, if you have a 5 anyways, the Persona 5, the God of War, the
Final
Horizon Zero
Fantasy was free.
Dawn, Final Fantasy 7 was free for like the month of April.
I
Um
feel like you would already have all those games on PS4. Like, cause that's all it was just a bunch of PS4 games that they said, "Oh, we'll
the
let you
PS
play them on the 5."
Yeah, if you missed out on the PS4 era, basically, and then you were just
Who
coming over,
would
it was their way of trying to get people to cross over from the Xbox to the 5. And it's like, well, you don't have to buy like the greatest games that we put out in that era or whatever. If you get the 5 and PS Plus, you'll get Uncharted 4, you'll get Last of Us, and you'll get
that
all
just
these
seems
games that we
uh,
put out. If
that
you
just
had
seems
just
weird.
Xbox people who just never came over, it was just their way of trying to get people from that platform over.
But I feel like if those games on the 4 didn't bring you over to the PlayStation 4, them re-releasing them so you can play the same game on the 5 is definitely not gonna bring you over.
But I mean, if you had a choice at this point, if you're like, oh, new consoles are coming, now I have a 5 to pick from, or the Xbox, which side do I go with? Xbox pushing Game Pass, PS is saying, well, here's, 10 free games that basically were in this era. So either A, you stay the course with your Xbox, or B, you jump ship and you get access to those games that you may never have played before. It just seemed
Mm.
like that was their kind of strat to win over the Xbox guys.
I guess.
Or,
I just feel like I
yeah.
said, if that didn't make you buy a PS4, it's not gonna make you buy a PS5. Like, I buy the both consoles because they each have games I wanna play. Well, I bought this Xbox mostly for Game Pass this go around because I didn't buy last generation. But outside of that generation of games, I've always had every console for everybody pretty much. Just because everyone's gonna make something that I wanna play. So that's why I said I feel like if those games didn't make you buy a PS4, they're not going to make you buy the PS5 because you're not going to be like, I really want to play those games. Because if you did, you would have bought them and bought the PS4 that's been like, what, $200 for who knows how long before the PS5 came out. So,
Uh, But
what is next, Keith?
unless you guys have a game to recommend, I think we've covered all
Harry should have
E3 things.
like 2 or 3 games to recommend.
Three
He doesn't
games, man.
hasn't
Oh,
recommended anything
damn.
forever.
Since this is the E3 special, I didn't know we were recommending games this go round.
Or you
I
could
guess
say your
about that
favorite
time
game from
to
E3.
Or your
head on
favorite
out.
game from E3.
Yeah.
That time to head on out. Yep. Oh man.
Yeah.
Does anyone have a game from E3 that they're looking forward to that outside of the big ones? Some random.
Something
I don't have
random. I
anything.
know.
I don't
Yeah, it
have
can't
anything
be.
random from E3.
I got
Without-
non-E3 game.
What's that?
Doki Doki Literature Club coming out
Ah.
physical for consoles.
All right. Time to
God.
remove Roger from the call.
So no Danganronpa for you, Terry?
Oh, you're funny.
Well,
Funny.
ladies
I don't
and
have
gentlemen.
anything from E3, but I would say play Ratchet and Clank if you haven't played it. If you have a PS5 and you don't have Ratchet and Clank, definitely should buy it.
Ratchet and Clank is quite good. And for those who don't know, Oryx Must Die 3 is coming out on console sometime in July. I definitely will be buying that as I enjoyed Oryx Must Die Unleashed. So if
I've
you're
never
looking to
played
play
any of
Oryx Must
those.
Die, please just drop your name in the chat. And I'm
What
on
is that game
PlayStation, so
about?
I
What is
don't
that,
know.
like a tower defense game or something?
Tower defense.
Yep.
It is? Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yep.
I gotta
Quite
see
fun.
when this game comes out. And I'll look at it.
$30. Yeah, it's July something. I don't know.
That must be the end.
But you will probably see videos on the channel of that game.
Hold on,
when it
Oryx Must Die
drops.
3?
Yes.
Yes. It's coming to console. I think it was on PC it's been on PC for like a year or two. A year?
Oh, it's okay. No, it was weird because it's been on Stadia for a while. So that's why I was like, wait, I think I'm looking at the wrong
Weird
game.
flex, but okay.
No, because I was like, I'm looking at the wrong game because nothing never really comes to Stadia first. That's why I was like, wait, maybe it was like a Orcs Must Die 3, like a name behind it or something. That
Oh,
a different
no,
version. So
Number 3. Number
that's a
1.
weird that's a weird exclusive for them to have, or timed exclusive. That's
Hmm.
odd though, but whatever.
Well then, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is going to wrap it up for this one. Be sure to hit that notification bell, the subscription bell, so that you can see the Orcs Must Die gameplay and all other things that will be coming to the channel, including Gaines' review of Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. With that being said, I hope this finds everybody in great health, and as usual, peace, be easy, be blessed.